Hi everyone. Since I saw you last, I have been obsessed with painting turtles, underwater sea turtles, after our inspired trip to Australia. So I just keep painting them over and over. I'm going to give you a little demo on them also. Here's a little tiny one. Here's one using some of that resist technique that we talked about, and this is alcohol, rubbing alcohol dropped on to get the kind of bubble effects. And I just can't stop painting turtles. I don't know which way it goes, maybe that way. Anyway, we are going to try it a different way today. I've got a piece of very, very wet paper. It's really wet, sopping wet. It soaked in water for, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe. And then I have a dry sheet. And this is something, okay, notice I always mix up my colors ahead of time. I do buy tubes of paint, but I use them like cakes. So as soon as they dry, I just leave them there, and then I just keep reconstituting them with water. So always have your paints ready and have them nice and wet. This time I'm going to try a stamping technique for a turtle, and I have already painted the edges of, this was probably maybe an oatmeal container, or maybe it was a tube of some kind, and I put some green on the edges, and I want to show you the difference between using wet paper and dry paper. I'm going to use this as a stamp. I'm just going to press that on, and because I put paint on it, I've got the shape of a turtle all ready to go. There might be enough paint on here for me to also use it on the wet. If not, I'll just add more paint. Now see, I like that spread. So this is the kind of thing that gives you these very watery looks. This was done that way. This started out that way, but then it got tighter on me. This one was done that way, and I love that watery look. This is a little bit of both. Okay, back to this. So once you've got the head, here's the dry paper. Once you've got the back, you can just add a little head, and you can add some flippers, and they're sort of a little bit wider at the top and then bend down. They're almost like wings. And then he needs some back feet. Sometimes they kind of come up like they're almost like walking, crawling while they swim. So sometimes one goes up and one goes back. And I always like to use just a flat brush for everything. And just that even will give us a turtle. You can decorate the back in any way you want. So if I were going to add the head to the wet, now it's all going to smear and run, and it will probably dry lighter than this, but I can come back to it also. So I've been doing so many turtles, I kind of have their little flippers down, the kind of the shape. A little bit of practice and you too will have the flippers. A little wider at that point. I can come back to it. They might have a little tail. Sometimes they swim with just the feet going back. And not much to it. To decorate it, you can do spirals, you can do a traditional design, you can look at the Aboriginal art that I sent you for some ideas. A traditional back would sort of have a hexagonal shape, but I'm just using the touch of my brush to make those lines. And I can continue to add pattern. you can see how that goes. You just keep going around. But any pattern will look great on the back of the turtle. It does not have to be, the pattern that you usually see. And then usually there's just, a little circle around the outside. And this is going to dry lighter, and I would have to go back into it. And this one, of course, you get crisp right off the start, which doesn't mean that you can't add watery looks. I could also drench this inside with water and then get some watery looks as well. So, try a turtle, and don't forget to drop alcohol in with anything you have around, a Q-tip, toothbrush, anything.